What would you do if someone you loved disappeared for over 20 years and then one day walked back into your life? Would you recognize them? Would you remember their voice, their face, the way they moved? Now imagine you are not human. Imagine you weigh 5 tons, you live in the African savanna, and your brain works in ways scientists are only beginning to understand. In 1999, a wildlife researcher named Dr. Ian Douglas Hamilton was working in Kenya when something remarkable happened. An elephant named Eleanor approached his vehicle. Eleanor had been rescued and released back into the wild more than 2 decades earlier. She walked straight up to the Jeep, stopped, and reached her trunk toward the window. She remembered him. After 23 years, she remembered the man who had helped save her life. This was not a coincidence. This was not a lucky guess. This was memory, the kind of memory that defies everything we thought we knew about animal minds. So today we are going to answer a question that has fascinated humans for centuries. Why do elephants never forget? And is that famous saying actually true? Let us start where all memory begins, inside the brain. An adult African elephant has a brain that weighs about 5 kilograms. That is roughly 3 times heavier than a human brain. But size alone does not explain everything. What matters is structure. Deep inside the elephant brain sits a region called the hippocampus. You have one too. It is the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories and connecting them to emotions and places. In elephants, the hippocampus is proportionally larger and more complex than in almost any other land animal. Scientists believe this enlarged hippocampus evolved for survival. Elephants live in harsh, unpredictable environments. They migrate across hundreds of kilometers. They must remember where to find water during droughts that happen only once every few decades. A bad memory could mean death, but there is something else. Elephants also have an exceptionally developed temporal lobe, the region associated with communication and social behavior. Combined with their powerful hippocampus, this creates a brain built not just for remembering facts, but for remembering relationships. So, what exactly do elephants remember? The answer might surprise you. Research has shown that a matriarch, the oldest female who leads an elephant herd, can recognize the calls of over 100 different elephants. She knows who is family, who is friendly, and who might be dangerous. She remembers voices she has not heard in years. Elephants also remember places with astonishing precision. During a severe drought in Tanzania in 1993, several herds traveled over 50 kilometers to reach a water source. The matriarchs leading those herds were over 35 years old. They had visited that water source only once before, decades earlier when they were young. The younger matriarchs, who had never experienced a drought, did not know where to go. Their herd suffered. Memory in this case was literally the difference between life and death. But elephant memory goes beyond survival. It is deeply emotional. When an elephant loses a family member, something remarkable happens. The surviving elephants will return to the bones of the deceased, sometimes years later. They touch the bones gently with their trunks. They stand in silence. Scientists observing this behavior have described it as mourning, as grief, as remembrance. Elephants also remember trauma. In South Africa, young male elephants who witnessed their families being called during population control programs in the 1980s grew up to be unusually aggressive. Decades later, they attacked other animals and even humans. They remembered the violence they had seen as calves. The memory shaped their behavior for life. And elephants remember kindness, too. There are documented cases of elephants approaching humans who helped them years before. They seem to distinguish between individuals who treated them well and those who did not. This raises an obvious question: how do we know all this? How can scientists study memory in an animal that cannot speak? The answer involves clever experiments and patient observation. One famous study used playback experiments. Researchers recorded elephant calls and played them to herds from hidden speakers. The elephants responded differently depending on who was calling. They showed excitement when hearing the voice of a close relative. They became cautious or defensive when hearing the call of an unfamiliar elephant. They remembered who was who just from sound. Other researchers have used scent experiments, Elephants have an extraordinary sense of smell, and they can identify individuals by their urine. In controlled tests, elephants consistently distinguish between the scents of family members, acquaintances, and strangers. They remembered individuals they had not encountered in years. Field studies have tracked elephant herds for decades, recording their movements and social interactions. This long-term research has revealed patterns that short studies could never capture. We now know that elephant social knowledge is passed down through generations. Young elephants learn from their mothers and grandmothers. Memory becomes culture. Scientists have also studied elephant brains directly, using non-invasive imaging when possible. These studies confirm what behavior suggests. The elephant brain is wired for long-term memory, emotional processing, and social cognition in ways that parallel and sometimes exceed human capabilities. So, what does all this mean? What can elephants teach us about memory itself? First, elephants remind us that memory is not just about storing information, it is about survival. Evolution shaped the elephant brain over millions of years because remembering water sources, recognizing threats, and maintaining social bonds kept elephants alive. Memory is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Second, elephants show us that memory and emotion are inseparable. The strongest memories, for elephants and for humans, are tied to feelings. Joy, fear, grief, love. These emotions do not just accompany memories. They strengthen them, preserve them, make them last. Third, elephants challenge our assumptions about intelligence. For centuries, humans believed we were the only species with complex memory, the only animals capable of true cognition. Elephants prove otherwise. Their minds are different from ours, but not lesser. In some ways, they remember better than we do. And finally, elephants remind us of our responsibility. These magnificent animals are endangered. Habitat loss, poaching, and human conflict threaten their survival. Every time an old matriarch dies, her memories die with her. The knowledge she carried, the places she knew, the relationships she maintained, all of it is lost. When we protect elephants, we are not just saving animals. We are preserving minds, preserving memory, preserving millions of years of accumulated wisdom about how to survive on this planet. So do elephants never forget? The science suggests they come remarkably close. Their brains are built for memory in ways we are only beginning to understand. They remember faces, voices, places, and emotions across decades. They carry the past with them, always. Perhaps the better question is not why elephants never forget, but what we can learn from creatures who remember so well. If this video made you think differently about elephants or about memory itself, let me know in the comments below. What surprised you most? And if you want to see more videos exploring the incredible minds of animals, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss what comes next. Thank you for watching, and thank you for remembering with me.